Howdy doody, glass half full, silver lining, idealistic, sanguine, Shaniqua Santiagos. On this video I want to talk about, is Earth Defense Force Iron Rain better than the EDF mainline series? Well, no. So anyway, that's all for this video, so thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't to, and also please tell someone about this video. Actually, now that I think about it, I think I will actually go into some of the ways I do actually like Iron Rain better than the EDF mainline series. It's not a better game overall, in my opinion, but I do want to talk about the things I like better, and then also in a following video, the things I don't like compared to the mainline series. And of course, I would also like you guys to share in the comments what you would, in this particular video, what you like better about Iron Rain than the mainline series, and then the next video we can share about the things we don't like then compared to the mainline series. So actually, let's get started here. The first thing I want to talk about is explosions and building destruction. So first I want to talk about something to do with the visuals, and that would be the explosions in this game. I think they look absolutely amazing, a lot better than in EDF 5. I'm not talking about necessarily the sound design, but the actual look of the explosions. Like, for example, I have a Gauss rocket launcher here, which looks absolutely amazing when it hits buildings. I love that electric spark shock look to it, and just very cool looking, as well as the destruction of the buildings look a lot better as well in this game. And there's also just the traditional explosions as well, like for example this rocket. I mean, look at that. I just love the smoke, the fire, just the way it looks. It looks absolutely amazing, and it feels strong, like, you know, having something that large of a blast, like a 20 meter for this in this particular weapon, just makes it feel so strong when you're fighting against enemies, and I'm absolutely loving it, and I think it just looks absolutely ridiculous. So that is something I definitely like better in EDF Iron Rain than in EDF 5. And also, in addition to that, I also think the buildings look a lot better when you destroy them. I like the particle effects that come off the buildings when they actually get hit. I like how they collapse better. I think it just looks overall better, and I hope that they actually use the look of this game to in their future mainline series, because it looks very good, and I'm very impressed. I know it's a different, I'm pretty sure it's a different engine, so that might be a problem, but regardless, I definitely like the way it looks. And I like how it feels like you're actually. Ideally, I would like to have, you know, the buildings break off in pieces and not have them all fall at once. But I do like, as alternative, if they're not going to do that, to at least have it do like this, where you shoot it once, pieces fall off, you shoot it again, and then chunks fall off, and then, you know, the building collapses. So, and then it has like a nice smoke look to it at the end when it falls. So pretty cool. Pretty happy with that overall. The next thing I would like to praise is the weapons in this game. I think they are very unique weapons, and I'm really enjoying the diversity of just the weapons and the weapon perks. I mean, you have things such as, you know, the weapon will charge in the background while you're using your second weapon, or for example roulette bullets, where some of these machine guns have a percentage probability to do something special. Like this one has a 1% chance to do 1,000 damage. This one has a 5% chance, so it's more often, but it does less damage, 300 damage. And there's a really strange one I recently unlocked that has a 0.1% probability of doing 25,000 damage. That, for example, is just very unique. I really am enjoying that. Also, there's such thing as like weird firing patterns, such as the laser rifles. I'm really liking how each of these laser rifles have a very different firing pattern. Some of them have blades that kind of move up and down as they fire. Some have like a beam that shoots through enemies. Some have like, I have one that was, I think it was called the Halo. See if I can find that thing really quickly. I guess it's under a different section, but it shoots like a ball of energy, and then it breaks into like a star pattern. Very cool, very interesting. There's also weapons that do different things the longer you fire them, such as they do more damage the longer you fire them, they have more range the longer you fire them, they have more accuracy the longer you fire them, such as the miniguns, which is a very cool idea, where it starts off inaccurate, but then the longer you hold it, the more accuracy it has. There's like bouncing bullets in this game, there's exploding shotgun shells, there's things that shoot through targets, there's homing bullets, homing sniper rifles, there's swords which have different swinging patterns. There's one that spins around you, there's one that shoots straight ahead of you, and then also just the uniqueness of the sword, whereas if you hit the target itself, it does three times more damage than if you shoot the blade that comes out of the sword. Just very interesting weapons, very enjoyable weapons, and I am personally very impressed with the diversity of the weaponry in this game. And I definitely don't have everything by any means. As you can see, I don't have actually that much at all yet. I have very little because of just I've been working on videos and the Let's Plays and all that, so I haven't been putting as much time into trying to complete it. But so far, what I've seen, I'm very, very impressed and very, very happy with that. Another thing I want to say that I enjoy in this game over EDF 5 is just the addition of status effects. Enemies can now burn you, or they can freeze you, and in addition, you can also do the same thing. You can burn them, you can freeze them, you can disable them with your weapons. Like I think I recently unlocked a energy thrower, which is a flamethrower, and it puts fire damage onto a target, and it does damage over time. So I just like the addition of the status effects that can happen to you or to the enemies. I think it's very unique. Alright, the next thing I want to talk about that I like better in this game opposed to EDF 5 or the mainline series is the enemies. I mean, excluding of course the cosmonauts and colonists, which I think are probably the most enjoyable enemies I've ever fought in any of the games. I think I like the diversity of the enemies in this game a little bit better. I really like, for example, these scorpions. These things can poison you and stun you when you get poisoned. There's spiders that can shoot webs on the ground that leaves webs that you can't really fly into or walk into, or it shoots out tiny spiders. The Hectors, I think, they're not called Hectors, but the Hectors in this game, the robots, I think are more interesting than the Hectors in the other EDF games, just because they have a diversity of attacks, whether it be close-range sword attacks, or they have the laser beam that shoots across the map, or a single shot, or the machine gun arms. I like the ants. I like the flying ants. I think the enemy variety and the what are those called? The beetles that shoot the fire out of their butts. Forgive me, I'm forgetting the name right now, but I think it's bombardier beetles or something like that. Just the diversity of the enemies. The drones are interesting. Also their version of the Urginus in this game is also more interesting in my opinion. So I just really enjoying the enemy variety, and I'm very, very happy. There's praying mantis in this game, and there's a couple different versions of each one. Like, there's such a diversity of enemies, and I think they did a very good job on that, on the diversity. So I'm very happy with that. And I would say I'd probably lean more towards the enemy variety in this game opposed to the EDF 5 even, which is one of my favorite games. So very, very happy overall with that. The next thing I would like to talk about that I really am impressed with EDF Iron Rain is the map variety. Not necessarily the map size, I'll cover that in the other video. I don't care for the things I don't care for, but just the locations you're going to right off the bat. I mean, each place feels very, very distinct and different. I like the lighting effects. I like how you go to the sand area. I like the cities, going out into like the desert areas. There's the coastal areas. The cities look different. I like the night missions. There's also, what else here? There's this cool night mission where you're out in the desert. What else is there? There's like the tiny bases where you're actually at home base trying to protect some objectives. What else? I remember like going out here in the middle of the forest with like this nice blue haze. I'm not sure like just what they're trying to go for there, but I really like the lighting, like just the nighttime, the moonlit, just the moonlit scenery here. There's some underground missions which aren't necessarily the most impressive, but I like the variety of the lighting and the locations, and just it feels like you're going to different places each time, and I'm very, very impressed with that variety. Alright, the next thing I want to briefly talk about is the aiming in this game. I'm very happy with the ability to to fine-tune aim. If you're playing on a controller, I always feel like it's a great idea to include the idea of, even if it's a weapon that doesn't have an aim, a scope on it, just allowing you to slow down your aim. I always appreciate that, because that allows you to have a fast turning when you need to be fast, but then when you need to be more fine-tuned, you can just hold down the aim button, which is another thing I like, that you can hold down rather than toggle. And it allows you to fine-tune your aim, and then, you know, go back to aiming fast to look around you. I also like the scope or the iron sight on some of the weapons. I always prefer that in a third-person shooter, because, you know, you're so far removed from your gun that just when you pull up the iron sight, it allows you to see a visual cue of that particular weapon, and it just allows you to get a little bit more attached to a certain weapon just because you get to see it up close. And I don't know, it's hard to explain. I don't know if you can relate to that, but it just allows you to have a visual cue for that particular weapon and just become a little bit more attached to it, I think. And just makes it feel a little bit more specific to attach to its name. So I always like that personally. So I'm very happy with that, because I think just having the zoomed in view, I mean, I can work on some weapons, but on weapons with an actual scope, I just like to see the actual scope. Just a little bit easier to aim, and I prefer it personally, so I'm definitely like that better. Alright, on to the next thing. The next thing I want to talk briefly about is the practice mode. I always have wanted a practice mode in the EDF series, so I'm definitely happy that Iron Rain has this. Now, it's not perfect by any means, and we'll cover that here in a moment, but I do like the ability to go into a non-hostile map and to actually practice out your weapons or your abilities or your classes or whatever. However, the thing I would like to see change for sure is I would like there to be a place where you can go in this practice room and change your weapon. So like say you can head, you know, to the back here and just, you know, click on a terminal, and it allows you to change the weapon and then test it out, you know, in this practice mode, and then, you know, go back, change the weapon again, or change your PA gear and go to a practice, you know, to test it out again, rather than having to go through a load time every time for each weapon. So it's a step in the right direction. It's not perfect, but it is something I would like to see that they would continue to do, and like I said, just tweak it so you can actually do more in here with changing your weapons and gear to test it out. But yeah, I'm still very happy though with the ability to add this practice mode. Alright, now on to the customization. This is one thing I'm very happy with they added to the series, and I would like them to add this to the mainline series too. I like the ability of being able to change your characters, you know, their voice, their body, their gender, you know, face and hair. Just a decent amount of options in this particular version. I mean, of course, you'd always want to see more of anything, but I think there's a decent variety here, and especially with the clothing. I've noticed I like how you're actually unlocking new cosmetics just through playing the mission, so it's something else to look forward to unlock, and then of course to buy it. And then also there's some cool items here as well that for example, where is it at? Let me see if I can find it. Right, this one right here, where this requires you to obtain 30 lower body outfits before you can unlock this. So it's even another thing to chase after. So once you buy these other items, so I'm just very happy with the ability to do all these customization options. I hope they continue with this in the main series for sure. And I think they did a very good job for the first time for sure. Now here's something I really love, and I didn't know I wanted this until they put it into this game, and that would be the stats for each character. I like how each class can max out at, you know, this is the max out at 10,000 health. So that what that means is every class has the same health, but what that allows you to do is allows you to give defense to each of the classes. So for example, 10,000 health as a heavy striker is going to feel a lot different than 10,000 health as a jet lifter, and that's what I've always wanted in the EDF series. Like for example, in EDF 5, if your wing diver gains armor at a slower rate than your fencer class, but you can still overcome that lower health by just, you know, grinding and getting more armor, so you can, you know, eventually get to the same health as a fencer. But in this game, you're both capped at 10,000 health, but it allows you to feel your defense stat significantly for each class. So, you know, this class should be tanky, so therefore they should always feel more defensive than the jet lifter, and the jet lifter can never be as survivable as a heavy striker in this game, and I really like that. So it makes each class feel different rather than just having an arbitrary number of armor gained for each of the classes. So I hope that they might incorporate that into the mainline series and just always make it so the fencer is more tanky. And speaking of which, I am very happy in this game of how they handled the fencer class. I think, like I said in one of my videos, I think that what they did with the fencer was they didn't intend him to be fast, but because people found the javelin catapult dash cancel, they probably felt like they had to keep the fencer fast in EDF 5, and therefore they gave him the dash jump. However, I think it's a very cool addition to have a slow, bulky, defensive dual-wielding class, and that's what they did in this game. They made him, he's not fast, but he can sprint when he needs to, but it uses his energy. But it allows him to be a heavy damage dealer with 2 weapons equipped. He has 4 weapons technically, and allows him to do more damage but be more defensive, but yet be slower. And then of course they have another class that is fast, such as the Prowl Rider or the Jet Lifter, so they don't need 3 fast classes. So I like it better in this game. However, I will say that I would definitely miss the dash jumping in EDF 5 because that is such a fun mechanic. So I don't know, maybe separating the class somehow, or making a heavy class or a tanky class in EDF 6 or whatever they would do. I'm not sure, but another thing for sure is I would not want them to get rid of Air Raider. Air Raider is a very fun class as well. But I just want to say, as far as what I like better, I like how they handled the class diversity in this game better. And even Trooper, even though he's very difficult to play as, I still like that they added a traditional class that is very challenging to play as. And that leads me to my last most enjoyable aspect of EDF Iron Rain versus EDF 5, and that would be how the fast classes feel in this game. So the fast classes, of course, are the Jet Lifter and the Prowl Rider. But even as a Jet Lifter, it is difficult to outrun the enemies completely. I mean, you're more nimble than Trooper for sure, but say for example, let me take this out for mission and show you what I'm talking about. Alright, well, if you watch my channel for any length of time, you know how I feel about EDF 5, how I feel that the Wing Diver and the Fencer were made way too fast for the enemies, and it made me miss the times in EDF 4 where you would be able to fly away as Wing Diver from the enemies, but they would still be at your heels the whole time, which made it very, very interesting and thrilling and exciting. But with the addition of the dash, and then having such a cheap dash in EDF 5, and then also with just the speed with her items, they made it so that she's so fast that she can just outrun the enemies. Same with the Fencer, and they're no threat. Whereas in this game, this reminds me a lot of EDF 4, where they are literally on your heels. I'm flying right now. I'm flying away from these enemies, but they can keep up with me, and they can still pose a threat. They can still hit me. They can outrun me at times. This is what I miss in EDF 4. EDF 4 had this, where you were constantly fighting, these enemies at your heels. You couldn't just outrun them forever. I mean, yeah, there is a dash, which I'm happy that they added a dash to this game, but it costs a lot of energy, and so therefore you can't use it all the time. So this is exactly what I wanted for EDF 5. Put a dash in the game, but make it more expensive to where you only use it for emergencies, and enemies can still hit you as a Wing Diver, and I think that's perfect. And as well as the Prowl Rider, I think the Prowl Rider is also a good compromise. And let me show that up really quickly here to show you that Prowl Rider also is a balanced class in this game. But yeah, this is perfect in my opinion. Now, as far as Prowl Rider goes, I think Prowl Rider is also a very balanced class because of the fact that if you have to get away from the enemy, you have to literally turn around away from the enemy and then start grappling away. You can't just, start dashing backwards or dashing sideways to avoid the enemy. Plus, in addition, of course, you also have a limited amount of energy to do that. And plus, also, in addition to that, if you get hit in the air, you also will take damage and get stunned, so you won't be able to, to dash while you're getting hit. So, because of those features, I think that they made Prowl Rider a pretty balanced class. In spite of the fact that they're very fast, and the enemies are still a threat to them, and yes, they are faster than Trooper, of course, but at the same time, they're not just invincible, immobile, you know, constantly dashing around, nothing can catch them type class like in EDF 5 with the Wing Diver and Fencer. So I think because of that, that is one thing that I'm very, very happy with in this game, and I hope that EDF 5 can balance out their speed of their classes a little bit better, either by making the enemies faster or by making the classes, you know, a little bit slower, like in this game, where I still think, you know, Jet Lifter is fun. It's fun to fly around, fun to glide around, but it's not this super speed class where they can never get caught and there's no threat. So that's probably my last thing that I would say that that I overall like better in EDF Iron Rain versus the mainline series, and specifically EDF 5. Is this game perfect? By no means. And am I completely happy with this game? Definitely not. But I will cover those things that I don't like in the next video. I just wanted to start out with the positive notes because I am very much enjoying this game, and I think they have a good foundation to build on for the future, and I hope that they can actually continue this series in the future. But those are the things I like. Like I said, go ahead and mention the things that you like about EDF Iron Rain versus the mainline series, and then the next time we'll talk about the things that we don't like and the things we like to see changed. So yeah, that'll be all for this one. So once again, thanks a lot for watching, and remember, EDF doesn't leave a man behind, ever. And also if you're interested in supporting the channel, please consider joining through the join button below the video, or also please share the channel with someone, as it does help financially. It's very much appreciated. Thanks a lot. Hope to see you in the next one.